I'm Anthony Corso. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer for the City of Peoria. I have the distinct privilege of directing the city's first innovation team. Innovation teams, just so you know a little bit more about it, we are really charged with bringing bold, transformative ideas to light in city government. And we do that in incremental steps with measurable results. I do want to thank Mayor Ardis, City Council members, City Manager Patrick Urich, department heads and staff that we've been working with to come up with this work that we're going to share with you today. I also want to thank the community members and partners that have helped develop these ideas by sharing their wants and needs about their community and about their city. Whether it's the desire to leave the city of Peoria a better place for their children, grandchildren, friends, and neighbors, or really looking for something more pragmatic like a safe place to walk, or a safe place for children to walk to school or for them to go about their daily business. With that, I do want to introduce the Honorable Mayor Ardis today to share a little bit more about the work that we've been developing and what those next steps will look like.
Well, thanks, Anthony, and good morning, everybody. I have quite a bit of information to present from the innovation team. So Anthony Corso around City Hall and in certain areas of the city is very familiar. Everybody knows him. But starting today, he and his team are going to be all around Peoria, and they're going to be faces that we all know and recognize. Anthony Corso and Kate Green and Katie Shackelford are the I-Team extraordinaire who, thanks to the Bloomberg grant that we received with $1.5 million to fund these initiatives. And this is really the big rollout of a lot of the exciting things that the innovation team has been working on. So we're really looking at starting this I-Team initiative off with looking at our CSO issue. The CSO issue is probably the biggest challenge that our city has ever faced, well over most likely $200 million to address the CSO challenges. So we're leveraging the CFO infrastructure investment to create a greener and stronger City of Peoria. Honk if you agree. So the city's innovation team started about a year ago with $1.5 million from the Bloomberg Philanthropies. And they're tasked with finding solutions to the hardest problems facing Peoria. And they began by looking at our proposed green infrastructure solution to the CSO problem. During that course of time over the last year, they've been engaging a lot of people in the community and a lot of experts in this area to identify best practices and how we may go about using those in innovative ways to address the CSO problem. They've been discussing this with a lot of the city council members, the manager and his staff to develop new interventions that measurably improve the citizens' quality of life. So today we're here to share what's next, what's coming up next, and the culmination of a lot of great ideas right down the block from here and in other locations in the city. From these ideas, they have several targeted strategies to walk, grow, and build a more resilient Peoria. So I'm just going to identify a couple of those initiatives here this morning, and then Anthony and his team, our Public Works Director, and other staff members can take questions, or the council members and I. So first of all, kind of a pilot project on Complete Streets. The goal of Complete Streets is to make our streets more walkable, bikeable, and accessible to everyone, and also safer for automobiles. But it's not to be the automobile-centric transportation system that we've known for all these years. The benefits include safer and more pleasant routes to school for children, or simply for people to get from point A to point B, wherever they might be going. The street designs will maintain sight lines, define public and private spaces, control access, and create calming and restorative green places. It's also to encourage residents to spend more time outside interacting with each other and strengthening their neighborhoods. You know, when people are outside talking to each other, knowing their neighbors, it creates safer neighborhoods and safer environments. The Peoria Core is a program that creates pathways through service learning and green infrastructure maintenance for young adults who are out of school and unemployed. It's empowering these young people while creating new industry and new local jobs in the city. The Peoria Core program will provide all the necessary training to put these younger folks without jobs back to work. The Green Your Block initiative is a mini grant program focusing on embracing full potential of vacant lots. As we all know, and as a lot of the neighborhood advocates know, there's a lot of vacant lots around the community. There's a lot more vacant lots down here in the valley on the north and south ends. So the applicants supply a vision for what to do in those areas and those vacant lots, and the manpower for creating these new public spaces. And the grant will provide resources to help them make the transformations on those vacant lots. A Natural Fit is another program. This is after-school programming for kids developed in partnership with the Illinois Water Resource Council. So it teaches them about plants that are native to our area, why green infrastructure is being used, and why it's good for our community. The Street Tree Program is a network for complete green streets, and it will these initiatives are going to require a lot of trees in our neighborhoods, and that helps us manage stormwater and improve the quality of the space in our city. The innovation team is working with our Public Works Department to envision a municipal nursery. Director Rogers talked to the City Council last year when we were developing our current 2-year budget about Public Works actually starting and maintaining this municipal nursery, which will provide trees for us to use throughout the community. Walk the Block is really a main component of what we're talking about right now, an initiative that's going to be happening really soon. As I said a couple minutes ago, residents of the community really indicated that they'd like to walk more in their neighborhoods, but they really don't have necessarily like a dedicated spot to do that. So again, the collaborators on this were the Community Development Department, our resident police officers, the Peoria City County Health Department, Greater Peoria LISC, Proctor Recreation Center, and the East Bluff Community Center. So there'll be 2 pilot sites for Walk the Block. One is adjacent to Proctor Recreation Center, not too far from here, and another one adjacent to the East Bluff Community Center, formerly known as St. Bernard's Church up on the East Bluff. The kickoff event is Saturday, May the 21st at both of those sites, and this is also an invitation to the community to join us at either one of those sites a week from Saturday to promote public health and strong neighborhoods, reduce crime at the same time, and really begin to learn more about all the initiatives that our innovation team is undertaking in our city. So that's a quick, fast recap of a lot of information. We'll have a lot more of this information up on our website as well. And right now, we would like to make Anthony Corso and the innovation team. We have our staff from the Public Works Department and the city manager here, so we can take questions on any of this information. And I'll turn it back over to Anthony.
Thank you, Mayor Ardis. And we're certainly willing to hang out, Public Works staff, community development, the innovation team, to answer any questions folks might have. And we can do that kind of informally as trucks blare by off to the side. But happy to take any questions now. And I want to thank everybody again for coming down. Look forward to moving all these initiatives forward and really seeing some positive change in the community. So thank you very much.
Grants for the Green Lot Initiative, how much would be awarded to applicants?
That's a good question. We're working through that right now. We're looking at some great precedents from other cities that have done vacant lot transformation programs. And so we're working with community members to determine, what level of transformation they're looking for. Because obviously you can get pretty sophisticated and pretty elaborate and pretty expensive with a lot transformation. But what we want to do is both demonstrate and raise awareness on utilizing green infrastructure in these spaces and really take some of these lots that may be a liability to neighborhoods right now and turning them into an asset. So we'd like to leave some of those kind of, that visioning process and those ideas to the community, but work with them on identifying what's a reasonable, level of funding for transforming those properties.
Does this one qualify?
This one I think is not available, but thank you.
I had a question about the Green Your Block initiative too. So you said applicants supply the vision. So if a community neighborhood association, because we have 3 empty lots in our neighborhood, if we submit a plan to you specifically and then you read through it and...
Yeah, and we can follow up, and we'll also post and share information on what that process will look like. One of the things we mentioned is the Complete Green Streets pilot, which we are on adjacent to the site right now. These 2 blocks of Southwest Adams will be that pilot project. The Walk the Block that starts later this month launches on the 21st at the 2 locations mentioned. Those projects are rolling out now. The Green Your Block will likely launch later this year, and so we'll post all that information, the requirements, the funding and information like that. So everyone will have a chance to do that. The other thing I didn't mention is again, these initiatives will roll out over probably the next 12 to 18 months, depending on kind of what's being used to fund them and the key partnerships that are developed for those.
What will you be doing down here with this test project?
We're in planning for that, but the real goal is to both have a complete street model, so a streetscape that is designed for all users, safe and accessible to all users. And that same model is kind of merging that with the green street strategy, so taking those same elements and incorporating green infrastructure, whether they be porous pavements or stormwater planters, things like that, to pull out and manage that stormwater, keep it out of the combined sewer system. This is really our demonstration project to show how the green infrastructure solution that the city has proposed will work. Measure that, learn from it, so that we can expand that in the future.
Where will we see the most added green infrastructure? Throughout the city, or is there a specific spot?
Sorry, there was a little background noise. You asked about where will we see the most? We see, particularly with kind of the flagship program, which would be this Complete Green Streets, the combined sewer area is approximately 8 square miles. And so there would be, what we're proposing is a network of complete green streets to capture that stormwater, that wet weather, and pull that out of the system and use it as a way to connect people in places and, complete that, safe and accessible transportation infrastructure. So we really want to connect the dots. So it will have kind of, if you will, fingers and streets that extend into the communities within the combined sewer area.
Just to add to that, we with our whole complete streets policies, we're not just going to focus on that 8 square miles. We're looking at the entire city. With our capital programs that we have, we've already started Maine and University, and so we're looking at every single project that comes up. We're looking at it, making sure that we're developing our plans, not just for the motorists, but for those who are looking for transit, those who are walking, those who are cycling, and we're making sure that wet weather issues are dealt with at the same time. So really, we're looking at the entire city, but a major focus will be in that 8 square miles.
Do you expect to see the results from all this right away for this combined sewer overflow problem? Or, how long do you expect this to kind of pay off with these initiatives?
Actually, we should see some results immediately on many of these types of items. With the plan that we're looking at the aesthetics. First of all, there's an aesthetic component to what we're trying to do. When you look at all of the community benefits that are a part of this as well. From an economic development standpoint, we're looking at local and regional companies actually doing this type of work. So from an economic development standpoint, we should immediately see that. Projects like this, we're looking at, and if you can just imagine, just take a look around here, the great opportunities that are going to be there once we start with this project. So we're looking at some immediate type of benefits soon as we start with the green infrastructure and start to do some of these projects within the rights of way.
How do you plan to, maybe, I don't know if this would involve renewing the grant, but replenishing the $1.5 million? Because this is an expensive project.
The goal, and I shouldn't speak to this myself, but the goal is that the innovation team demonstrates value and is integrated into city government, and with the ideas and the grants that we can bring and the dollars that hopefully we can save through some of these initiatives or generate through some of these initiatives are able to kind of keep the ball floating and move forward with this kind of thing. The other goal for our team is really to take this process, this innovation delivery approach, and integrate it into how the city functions. And so we're already seeing that great work happening in different departments, and many of those folks are here that are part and parcel of that. So. Thank you very much.